Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gerald Abila from Barefootlaw in Uganda. Sorry we cannot be there, me and the rest of the team, due to technology glitches at the South African High Commission visa section. However, since this is a law via internet conference, we thought it wise to harness technology. Much as we cannot be there physically, we'll be there in spirit and virtually. This morning, I'll present my paper. It's entitled "The Curious Case of Barefootlaw, a smart synthesis of internet and social media to deliver free legal education and services to underserved communities in Uganda." The question then is, what is Barefootlaw? Before we go into what Barefootlaw is, I'll present to you a few statistics. Before we go into what Barefootlaw is, let's try and put ourselves in the current situation regarding legal services and access to justice in Uganda today. Take yourself away from this contraption, this conference center that you are right now, and immerse yourself in this world using the statistics that I'm going to provide. Yeah? Registered lawyers in practice. What if I told you I come from a country with around 2,000 to 2,600 lawyers registered in practice? And these are 2,600 lawyers for a population of 38 million people. Well, the census has just been carried out, so the number may vary a little, but the last survey indicated Uganda had a population of 38 million people, being served by a population of lawyers less than 3,000. This gives us one lawyer for approximately 19,000 people in Uganda today. What if I told you I come from a country with a case backlog of over 250,000 cases, and of these 44,000 cases are in the High Court alone? What if I tell you I come from a country where the latest statistics I have indicate the case backlog is over 30 years long? 30 years long. What if I tell you I come from a country where the legal costs are the highest in the entire East African region? To recover $1, you'll need approximately 44 cents. That's 44% of the suit property will go into legal costs and costs of enforcement. What if I tell you I come from a country where mobile phone penetration is approximately 60%? This gives you approximately 22 million people have access to mobile phones. And what if, picture this same world, I tell you I come from a country that has more mobile phones than electric light bulbs? Wouldn't you try and harness this resource of mobile phones to improve on the statistics that I've told you about? In addition, of the 59% population that have mobile phones, approximately 12% are smartphones and have regular access to the internet. This gives you a population of around 4.5 million people have access to smart devices that can access internet. What if I tell you I come from a country where ignorance of the law is no defense? Yes, ignorance of the law is no defense, and this is the same principle that applies to many other Commonwealth jurisdictions. What if I tell you I come from a country where approximately 95 to 97% of our registered advocates are in Kampala City? That leaves you approximately 3 to 5% spread out across the country. Kampala City alone, according to the last statistics, has a population of 1.9 million people. Of course, the population increases during day and reduces at night, but registered residents of Kampala are approximately 1.9 million people. Now, 1.9 million people, registered residents, have 95 to 97% of registered lawyers in Uganda. That means you have approximately 3% of the lawyers distributed for approximately 36 million people across the country. How can we disrupt this current trend of things? What if I told you there is a way you can educate the public about their legal rights and access to justice and legal services, such that the only bother courts has an option of last resort? What if I tell you a lot of this ignorance of the law can be overcome using technology and already existing technologies and systems, applications that are freely available on the market? Now, what if I told you this is already happening? The disruption is already happening. And this disruption is Barefootlaw. Ladies and gentlemen, today I introduce you to Barefootlaw, which is a social enterprise dedicated towards synthesizing information technology and the internet to create access to legal services free of charge and help to increase public awareness of existing laws. Tonight, I present my paper entitled A Curious Case of Barefootlaw, a smart synthesis of internet and social media to develop free legal education and services for underserved communities. So my presentation is entitled A Curious Case of Barefootlaw, a smart synthesis of internet and social media to deliver free legal education and services to underserved communities in Uganda. Barefootlaw is an idea that came about after observing the lack of access to legal education and knowledge in Uganda. Access to justice continues to be a major challenge for Ugandans embroiled in human rights issues, employment issues, succession issues, property issues, domestic violence issues, and so many other issues that are topical in Uganda of a legal nature. And many Ugandans have difficulties getting answers of a legal kind to a lot of these issues and challenges. You see, information technology is the new slave. And if we learn to harness information technology, we will exploit all the loopholes, have them sealed, and all the opportunities that come at a cost-effective advantage. The time I started Barefootlaw was in school, and it came about as a result of trying to use technology to provide education. So I would get a lot of what's being discussed in class and use them on my own Facebook wall and Facebook wall of different media houses to educate people on various topics. As time went on, I realized there needs to be a Facebook wall dedicated to only this. And that's how Barefootlaw came about. One other incident I remember was I went to a courtroom and there was a gentleman trying to defend himself. He neither understood the court process and neither did he understand something as simple as a plea, much as it had been explained to him. And he never had access to a lawyer. It was a case, I think, involving housebreaking or simple theft. But the prosecution had a qualified lawyer who was professionally cross-examining this gentleman. And the gentleman was on the stand, seeing nothing, but in Uganda we call it stars, totally lost. And so his turn to cross-examine came, and the questions they asked were comical. And his relatives were also in the crowd, and they had nothing to do. They didn't even know about the procedure of applying for bail or when the plea would be taken. And so that incident and a number of other incidents led to the formation of Barefootlaw as it is today. Why is access to legal services very important? At Barefootlaw, we believe access to legal services should have actually been the zeroth MDG. Access to justice and legal services is so important and fundamental that without it, achieving other Millennium Development Goals is next to impossible. And a simple look at countries that are failing to meet their Millennium Development Goal targets There's a correlation between that and access to justice. So one of the ways for us to play our role in achieving the MDGs came about with Barefootlaw. And we're driven by that principle of access to justice being so fundamental that without it a country cannot achieve other development targets. And so Barefootlaw came about. Barefootlaw, what is it? Barefootlaw is a volunteer-run social enterprise. It has been in existence for close to 2 years now, and in that duration of existence it has been funded by goodwill. It has been totally self-funded by the volunteers that believed in the idea. The objective of this initiative is to provide free legal education and increase access to justice using information technology. There's a term we like to use, it's called a smart synthesis of law and technology to overcome challenges caused by lack of access to justice and legal services. We like to think of ourselves, and remember this word when you leave, legal evangelists. Legal evangelists. And what we are doing is legal evangelism. Spreading the word of the law using the Constitution and other laws. Barefootlaw is the most active online portal in Uganda today, with and I'll show you the figures, a monthly reach of on average 170,000. Sometimes it goes up to 180,000 individuals. We receive over 50 correspondences a day from all our various platforms. How are these figures achieved? How does Barefootlaw use social media and information technology to solve or contribute to solving the problems I mentioned earlier on? In this next phase of my presentation, I will show you and I will hopefully demonstrate to you how Barefootlaw uses current tools to overcome the challenges earlier on mentioned. And I will show you where we want to go, where we see Barefootlaw in the near future, with, of course, partners like you and the networks we hope to build from this conference. In this next segment of our presentation, I'm going to show you how Barefootlaw uses social media and information technology tools to contribute towards solving this problem. Number one is the Barefootlaw Hive. Now, the Barefootlaw Hive is located at our offices in Naguru. It's nothing but the central processing unit where all Barefootlaw activity occurs. It's the physical presence of Barefootlaw, with our online presence being the virtual presence. As you can see, that's the Barefootlaw office. And as you can see, that's activity taking place at the Barefootlaw Hive, meetings and discussing with some of those that we have that come to our offices. Usually when we receive queries and issues online that we feel we cannot solve virtually, we invite the persons to our offices. And that's how the Barefootlaw Hive comes about. We proceed to social media, and the social media is divided into various categories. We'll start with the Facebook. Around the time I decided to use Facebook for Barefootlaw, a lot of telecoms were giving free Facebook via zero.facebook.com. And with this, the number of Ugandans on Facebook, it was the most famous and the most popular social media platform. And so Barefootlaw started on Facebook. We receive over 50 correspondences a day on the Facebook, legal issues and questions and topics for clarification on this Facebook. And as you can see the figures, the total weekly reach for this was 30,700. That comes down to around 90 or 100,000. That's from here. in a month. And yet this was when our total likes were 5,500. The total likes have since shot up to close to 18,000 now. Secondly, we have Twitter. Twitter and Facebook operate differently. While Twitter in Uganda applies mostly to the urban elites, Skype is a software that's available for making free calls, both audio and video, and for instant messaging online. Using Skype, we are available online every Monday from 4 to 6 p.m. So on Monday from 4 to 6 p.m., anyone who feels they need to talk to a lawyer simply logs into Skype and searches for Barefootlaw. The advantage with Skype is it has audio and video calls. We've harnessed Skype for a service of ours called Virtual Counsel. Virtual Counsel works in such a way that it's a video conferencing, sort of a video conferencing service or system, whereby a user does not need to walk into our office to be able to talk to a lawyer. We are simply available online. As I said, Monday from 4 to 6 p.m. Another advantage of Virtual Counsel is it's possible to set up appointments. For instance, if a dispute has arisen 500 kilometers away, and people in that community have access to internet, let's say from an internet cafe, they simply go to the internet cafe, sit, and dial us. Of course, it's on appointment. You have to notify us in advance. And so you sit, dial us, and we'll be here in our offices, the Barefootlaw Hive, and be able to engage you in legal discourse. And sometimes solutions have come up using this system. To access us on Skype, simply go to Skype or go to our website, check on it. As I said, in a few days it's still under construction, and add Barefootlaw amongst your contacts. On Facebook, simply go to www.facebook.com/Barefootlaw. And on Twitter, just go to @BarefootLawUG, and you will find us and follow us. We also have a system called Dial a Lawyer. Dial a Lawyer is simply just call. Our numbers are open. We have a landline and a mobile. The landlines the number is 0414-660-539. The mobile is also available. The landline is available every day of the week from 9 to 5. And on the landline, we receive on average 5 calls a day. We also have a service called Email a Lawyer. With Email a Lawyer, anyone with a legal question or issue simply sends an email to ask@barefootlaw.org, and we guarantee a response within 24 hours. Text a Lawyer is a service we developed. Actually, it was one of the first services we started as Barefootlaw. With Text a Lawyer, anyone in need of legal services or in need of anyone with a legal issue or question, simply go on your mobile phone, send an SMS, and in the SMS window, type law, space, your question, and send it to 6789. As I said, this was one of the first services we had. Unfortunately, because of costs, we had to discontinue this service, despite it had picked up, and the more it picked up, the more we decided we cannot handle the costs that come with it anymore. So we decided to shelve this, and hopefully in future with partnerships, this service can be further developed. And then we have our website, www.barefootlaw.org. This is the first version of the website. This is version 1.0. We've upgraded, or we're in the process of upgrading to version 2.0. But briefly, on version 1.0, all you have to do is type in barefootlaw.org, and if you need to ask a lawyer any question, just click the icon there, and you'll be able to ask a lawyer. It has a list of our services, it has a list of our blogs, and something else is, there was something interesting down here, which was a pop-up. Anytime a lawyer was online, or if you have any legal questions, simply click on this, and then you'll be able to ask your questions. We also had a list of services here, and we had a number of documents available free for download. Documents, opinions, and templates. One of our most popular, because we had so many issues on succession that kept arising, we decided to introduce a template of a will. So we had a free will available for download here in Word and PDF. So anyone who downloads it simply goes and fills in their details and submits it to someone in their community that's respectable, for instance, the local council. That will solve a lot of disputes that arise in case the person dies. And of course we have media that we will put interviews and Barefootlaw reports in the media. And we have something very interesting, and I'll talk about it later, is the pro bono linkage. So briefly, that's the website. Check on us in a few days for the upgraded version of this. And of course, we have the Barefootlaw app. This Barefootlaw app is available free for download on Android currently, but it's coming soon on iOS, on iPhones, and on Windows phones. If you, in fact, for those in the crowd that have Android phones, just go to your Play Store and search Barefootlaw. You'll be able to download the app free of charge. With the app, as you can see, you're able to ask a lawyer free of charge. You just click on this, it will come up. I guess those with Android phones are doing that right now. Yes. And then, so that's very good, very good. And then the pro bono link, I'll talk about that more. You will get information about Barefootlaw. You'll get to see the team of dedicated volunteers behind Barefootlaw. And you can exchange with them and find out what really drives them. You can see what it means to, when you click the Ask a Lawyer icon. When you come to Ask a Lawyer, you simply put in your name, your email, select one of the drop-downs about the legal issue you have, send your question. You will receive a response within 24 hours. You can try it out. Click Ask a Lawyer, step 1. That's nice, that's nice. And I'll send your question. Right now, pull out your smartphones, download our app and send a question. I guarantee you will receive a response before the end of the day. Trust me, just try it out. It's amazing. If I wasn't part of Barefootlaw, I wouldn't believe it. We have seminars and trainings, as you can see. This was us disseminating information about Barefootlaw at a training and exhibition organized by one of our partners. That's a part of the Barefootlaw team sharing a light moment. This is Timothy from Barefootlaw. He'll be presenting at 4 p.m. today. Don't miss out his presentation, virtually of course. So this is the Barefootlaw pro bono link. Lawyers in Uganda, practicing advocates, are required to offer some of their time doing a pro bono work in order to be renewed to practice the next year. We developed this system to help our partners and anyone else that's interested in furthering it to smartly link lawyers or advocates that wish to offer these services, the pro bono services, to clients that may be in need of these services. The different technologies have brought us some awards and recognitions, and I'll shift you towards the next one. Some of the awards and recognitions we've received as Barefootlaw are the social media awards, and this we received this under the social justice category. We received the Lady Justice Award. We received this. These were given to us by someone that we assisted, and he said we shouldn't be barefoot anymore. It was a sincere appreciation for the services we rendered to him. And then we have the UCC ASEA Awards. The ASEA are the largest technology innovation awards in Uganda. And for this we received the Judges' Choice Awards, overall best. And we also received an award under the ICT for Development category. And other awards are there. We also received Best Exhibitor. Last but not least, the most recent was this recognition by the American Bar Association. And Barefootlaw was featured as among projects that were revolutionizing law and access to legal services worldwide. Only 10 projects were listed, and Barefootlaw was one of them. Before we conclude, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. One, information technology is the new slave, and by exploiting it, Africa will be able to harness our resources, both natural and human. And secondly, with the internet, we're all everything. Think about those words. And big ups to the Barefootlaw team. Alan, Michael, Timothy, Rhoda, Jamila, Isaac, Dorcas, and Francisca. You guys are amazing, and it's such a joy working with you. Thank you.